See how she's curled and tucked under, and now she does a good abs curl right there, and then pulls over. So there's just a good pull in here. Now, and that comes just from your conditioning. Okay. For this one, that comes from Darcy doing tuck touchdown straights on the wall bar, and making sure that those kids, when they initiate that leg lift action, it's from a curling, hip under curling, and not like that. Okay. Let's see the front hip circle. Front hip circles, when we talk about the importance of front hip circle, I mean they're important because they're in the bar routine. Okay, a lot of coaches hate front hip circles. They took them out of the level 4 routine, which I think is good because, again, what I didn't like in the level 4 routine was you didn't cast out of the kip. You know what I mean? They'd be fine for me if they went kip, cast, came back down, and then did a front hip circle and a cast out. That would be fine. Okay? I don't mind the front hip circle because I like what it helps them do with the end of the front hip circle. It helps them learn how to keep their hands moving, hold a pike position around the bar, and that helps with your kipping and casting. That's it. Right, and that's not too bad. She's starting pretty good. Okay. So she's falling pretty good here. Right. She's just got to get the timing of the pike, which is really pretty close on that, to snap just a little bit faster. And then you watch, her hands are a little slower than the rest of her body. And that's what leads to that kind of where they come up, and she's doing a pretty decent front hip circle, but she comes up and her chest is beating her hands over the bar, and so her hands are behind, and then she has to lay on the bar. Okay? What you'd like her to see her do is to keep her hands moving. You almost got to move your hands like twice on a front hip circle. So stare at her hands right there. You see them kind of move around the bar, move around the bar. So she has to work a little bit on a little faster hands, and on that last hands is push the bar down right there, okay? And you can help them by spotting them into that, just by getting them into this position and getting them to feel that little end of that front hip circle right there where they pull and they're shifting that weight. The knuckles are still moving. You see how our hands just kind of dragging behind a little bit? There, okay, do one more. And again, a front hip circle is one of those where a lot of coaches don't like it because it's just time consuming. You know what I mean? You got to spend time on it. Okay. Another thing I like about the front hip circle is when you do a lot of seesaws. Go ahead, seesaw. Okay, just stay nice and straight. I'll just take it. Okay, you do a lot of seesaws like this for your front hip circle, and they're doing all this work. One of the things they're learning to do right here is they're learning to cast too. Okay. They're learning to keep their arms straight, they're learning to push on the bar, and you're eliminating the fear of falling over the bar. We know how many kids you get up on the bar like this, and you try to tip them forward, and they're ready to pee their pants, they don't want to go over the bar like that. Okay? So this is push it. And again, that's one of the things I really like in the front hip circle is that just that nice pressure and falling right here, holding that shape. Okay. Let's do, so again, when we talk about importance, we're just talking about importance. Glide, really important. Front hip circle, spend time on it. Again, if your goal is to get a 9.9, you're going to have to spend a lot of time on it. Okay? Just make sure that your kids are understanding how to fall on the bar straight right there. Create a shape change. Tell your kids too on front hip circle there's just one shape change. Okay? It goes from straight to a pike. That's all it is. And the timing of the straight to the pike is what's going to circle your body around the bar. Okay? There's a lot of drills that you can do where you don't even really start with your hands on the bar. Okay? We had, I don't think you've done this with these guys, but we did it with a group a while back where we actually took one of the other bars and we put it up here. Did you guys do that one? Yeah, and it works pretty good. And you get them up like this, here, take your hands off the bar and put them by your ears. Okay, all right, and they're on the bar, and they're holding on to a bar up there, and they let go, and she falls, and she falls free like this for just a sec, and now pike. Then she pikes, okay? And so picture like holding, one of those little bars up on a mat stack, and they're just straight, and they let go, and they just fall, and they disciplines them to fall straight and wait long enough before they pike. Essentially, you're just creating long body to short body, and it swings around the bar.
We've done it also where you grab the back of your thighs.
Yeah, you just fall and just go around.
Grab the back of their thighs. To get around Amanda, they have to lean.
Yeah.
They don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
There's a couple
So,
kids that don't fight
again,
at all.
you know, we don't get really
They're
too
so
concerned. We
scared.
don't,
I
I don't
front
know.
of them.
Done front hip circles with thousands and thousands of drills, but really if you just get them,
Yeah.
a lot of them is too, is just you can get to spotting the end of it, help them with the timing.
You know.
Right there. Where you just kind of keep their hip close to the bar for them, and you just kind of help them with the timing. Right there, and then you kind of give them the snap and the roll in, they'll start to figure out the hand push right there. And eventually she'll do it straight in. So again, you just spot it enough times, they start to get that movement around there. Cast shoot through. Cast shoot backwards. Okay, good. Again, not too, pretty standard right there, basic. Do your leg cutting, do your leaning. All right, again, that's important that kids are comfortable with leaning over the bar on that. That's just the main thing. Kids will struggle with this skill if they're a little afraid to lean over the bar. And they don't have the flexibility to get into that good position right there. So I know you guys do like drag ups and shoot throughs on blocks and stuff like that. Okay. Do your strike circle. That's good. Okay, good. Come down, wrestling. And again, we've talked about this one too. I love this skill in this routine. And a lot of people don't. A lot of people complain about it or whatever. But again, you get to upper level gymnastics, okay, and you can take anything you can do on bars in this grip going backwards, you can do in this grip going forward, okay? So essentially half of your bars is in this grip going the other direction, okay? And how much do our kids do in this grip? They do this in level 3, nothing in 4, nothing in 5, nothing in 6, nothing in 7, nothing in 8, and then all of a sudden 5 years later, you turn around and you want to teach them how to do a front giant. Okay, that's a mistake. All right. The only reason they did that was because there's just not really easy things to put into a compulsory routine where the masses can get on a bar and do stuff in front grip. Okay, so I know I've told you guys this before, but spend time in this grip. Okay, we spend a lot of time in this grip conditioning. All right, again, whatever you can do in conditioning, do it in both grips. Okay, so if you're doing pull-ups, have them turn around and do pull-ups in this grip. Okay, we do planche rockers, do them in this grip. We do handstand holds on the wall or on the bar and on the wall. It's like half-half every time. They'll go up, if it's a 40-second handstand, they do 20 here and 20 here, or 30 and 30. Okay, so just make sure you're getting your kids in this grip. Because a lot of times, we got a 10 who came to us this summer, and I don't know how many kids have come over and they're 15, 16 years old, and they can't even get in front grip. You know what I mean? They barely can turn their hand and get in front grip. Remember, being a guy gymnast, you spend tons of time like this. If you watch the low-level boys compulsory stuff, a lot of it's in front grip. Okay, guys actually learn a front giant before a back giant, and it's a lot easier actually.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, and one of the reasons it's less scary actually. Okay, because you get to see as you're coming up on this side of the bar, everything's right in front of you. Okay, instead of picturing going backwards on a back giant. Now you're going backwards upside down and everything's back behind you. Okay, so if you ask guys, they're like, yeah, front grip's not a problem. Okay, so make sure you're doing a lot of your stuff, a lot of your conditioning, things like that. We do, wiggles and hanging. Get them hanging in front grip. That way you're developing that flexibility in the wrist and the shoulder, so that later on they can grab the bar in front grip. So do your stride circle. I'm sure you guys all have thousands of drills on that, so we won't spend a lot of time on that. Just make sure there's just good pressure again on the bar right here. They're tight. Okay. And a lot of times you see the air at the end of that is that, again, her wrists are just a little slow. Okay, so she's coming up and her leg is hitting the bar and her arms are still behind. She hasn't yet shifted her wrist. Okay, so one of the things you want to make sure your kids are doing are learning to shift their wrist really big. That's a good one right there. And then when you do that one, have them go over the top. Okay, keep your arms straight. They're getting comfortable going over the bar in front grip. So right here, just nice shake. Learn to shift the wrist. Keep your arm straight right here. Tight. Good. Again. Nice and tight. Good. You can just do hundreds of those. And they're just learning to shift those wrists right there and have pressure and get on top of the bar. If you watch our stride circle, that's not really happening real well. She's coming up and using her leg to sit on the bar and then finishing and then shifting. Okay, so stride circle important just because I love the front grip work in that. Let's do a backward circle. Not too bad. Again, this is another one of those really important parts of the routine. Okay, so we try to spend a lot of time on getting them to understand keeping pressure on the bar, circling backwards on the bar. All right, so pull over here. It's this part right here where they're going back on the bar, right here where you want to make sure there's still pressure, pushing on the bar right there. Okay, so they're holding that shape and pushing on it, and then it goes around like that. This is the point right here where you'll see a lot of beginners and stuff when they're starting a back hip circle is they kind of relax into the bar, let your head go back a little bit. Their head kind of leads and they just wrap their body around the bar with a pike and they're not really pushing on the bar. So stuff like this where they're just holding the shape, pushing on the bar like that, it's excellent. A bit of a circle. Okay. Focusing on the head position on that. Kind of see her head likes to go back a little bit. And that's normal, kids are going to do that. One of the reasons why they throw their head back is to help initiate the backward circling action. Okay? What you want them to do to create the backward circling action is push the bar that direction to get the shoulders to go back and get the head to drop this way so that the weight of their head drops into the circle that way to get it to go around. Your head kind of starts in and then just kind of goes back just a little bit. Pretty good, dude. And then, again, the undershoot part of that is really, really important. You can see her kind of break down on that. See as she's going under, she kind of lets the head go back, kind of loses pressure on the bar, and then gets into a pike. And so the bar kind of travels down, gets down to like her knees, and then she shoots off. Okay? That's long. That's hard. Pull over on the bar. Kids are, this is where the old, like the strongest kids are always the best compulsory gymnasts, all right? Because the kids that are just pure strength kids, they can just get through this stuff really easily. See if you can lean back and hold your legs on the bar without hiking. Just go to upside down to a can. So there. Right, see if you can do that yourself. See how many of your kids can actually just hold this shape right here, squeeze, and go upside down. That's pretty good. Just let her head go a little bit. Do it again. That one is a little hard. She kind of fell out. Okay. But test them with that and see if they're strong enough to hold to get upside down. Okay, because again, treated back hip circle undershoot, kind of like a 1.5 back hip circles. And then when they're in the candle, grab on there. When they're in the candle here, okay, then once they're in the candle, this is where you want to teach them what to do to make their body go up and off the bar. Okay, so if something is going to go up in that way, that means something has to go down in that way. What's going over there? Bar, right? Yeah. The bar has to go down in that way, so pull the bar that way. There you go, right? So if she learns to pull the bar and move the bar over there, then the result will be her body going over there. Okay? Really important when they start to get into clear hipping that they understand what moves their body. Okay? We talked about that before a lot of times too. On bars, a lot of times kids, good bar swingers, they're not always, they get their body into a position, into a shape, and they get it swinging, and they learn to, that's what people say is they're working the bar, is they're moving the bar, and the resulting stuff of the bar moving is their body moving. Okay? This thing is attached to the earth with big giant bolts. So when you pull this, is it going to go anywhere? No, it's not moving. Okay, but you tell them to move it. Okay, tell them to move the bar. Okay, but when this moves, what actually is going to move?